Okay, YouTube.
All right.
Morning.
Welcome back, guys. Today we are doing a quick little interview with Dean from Marijuana SA. These guys, they do amazing work online. I'm sure everybody around has seen some of their videos and things, and top-notch quality guys. Dean will give us a better insight on what they're all about, but just the basics is the majority an online shop where you can get all of your growing equipment and stuff. As I understand, they are one of the leading online growing shops in SA. So yeah, these guys, they really do it proper and nice and controlled. Very, very clean and professional. Good. All right, we're going to be nice and close here.
Yeah.
All right, so line that up. Awesome, welcome guys, back with another episode. Very honored to be here with Dean today from
guys.
Marijuana SA. These guys are, breaking new trends out there for everyone to enjoy and things,
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and support another YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, man.
You're
and we've been watching
largest YouTube channels in South Africa regarding cannabis as far as our knowledge goes,
So I think so. Maybe in Africa, I hope. I haven't really seen anyone else doing it, but I think we are currently leading, and it's a really privileged position to find ourselves in, because when we first got started, there wasn't much of an online content creation vibe within the space, and it's something that I've been dying to see. I'm dying for this YouTube economy to start with different content creators, and it's exciting to see something like this today.
Two YouTube channels coming
People are
together.
starting, There really isn't a lot of content out there on like what exactly is going on and where people can go and this stuff. South Africa's
Well, there is now there's Marijuana SA. How many videos have you got on YouTube already? I know you're 10,600 subscribers strong.
Yeah, so 10,600 subscribers. We have a library of over 350 videos.
Oh wow!
So there is a lot.
The goal has been 3 a week for around 3 years. We haven't always achieved it. Life happens. YouTube isn't the only thing that we do. We have a full-time grow store and other operations that we run as well. So that's a big part of it. But yeah, we've managed to, through blood, sweat, and tears, and 1 o'clock mornings and 6 o'clock mornings, get a lot of videos done. And like Andrew and I have really put in a lot of effort into keeping it up and being consistent, because that's what's been important to us. Once I start something, I don't really like to half-ass it, and now it's such a moving machine that it's like it's driving itself.
It's got a life of its own now.
Exactly.
And Marijuana SA, you were telling us earlier you've got an online shop here, and it's so. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What do you guys offer and how it works?
Cool, yeah, most definitely. So we're actually standing in front of our mural here. You're some of the first guys to create some content here besides us. So congrats. But Marijuana SA was what originally came before the YouTube channel. It was founded by Andrew in, I'd say, well, the idea came about in about 2015, according to Andrew. At that point, he made a little landing page, parked the domain. It's something he quite likes doing, and that domain sat dormant, with a little landing page, maybe till about September 2018. Hype hit. Andrew saw an opportunity. He imported quite a few products. Andrew's a highly experienced importer, and he imported a few products and put them on the website, and boom, he started to get some traction, and it was quite surprising at that point. And then a few months later, about 3-4 months later, we were chatting about it. I had a load of cannabis experience. I also hated my job. So I said to him, "Listen, bro, I'm ready to get retrenched. Like, I will come and join you. We can do this." And I got,
In which year was this? 2018.
So this was we started chatting in December of 2018. I started working in the evenings, sort of doing a little bit of content writing and stuff like that originally, and then I joined Andrew full-time on the 1st of March 2019, and that's where we decided really that we were going to give it a go.
We picked up momentum quite quickly, I suppose, with a domain like Marijuana SA.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. At that point, there was very little competition. There were established players in the space, but there wasn't quite a shop yet that was just catered towards marijuana with the name marijuana.
Yeah.
So what kind of products can people find on your website?
So we have full grow solutions. That's one of our main businesses. You know, grow tents or helping with designs to retrofit other spaces. We do grow lights. We have a seed bank as well, our own in-house seed bank, and then also some international brands as well, which we have really good relationships with. And then the other side of our business is we have a large range of compliant packaging as well, which is something I'm very passionate about. I was in the food industry for about 5 years before coming into full-time in the cannabis industry. And compliant packaging is going to be very important going forwards, you know. So we have a decent range of very cool packaging as well, which is also quite a big side of the business. So grow, smoke, package.
Cannabis,
content.
yeah.
And the grow support as well, you were mentioning earlier.
Yes, okay, I mustn't forget. Yeah, so our grow support is actually myself and then Luke work on the grow support full time. We have a WhatsApp line, we have a Telegram line, we're available via phone, and we do emails, as everyone does. And basically, the grow support is an idea we've kind of worked on throughout the life of the business. You know, a lot of people coming into cannabis have never grown or used a grow light or used a rope ratchet. They're a bit lost coming into growing, and
you don't always know where to get the right
information. And there's so much American information or European information. There's nothing local for South Africa.
Needed specific.
So you have grower support available.
Exactly. We use every product we have on the site where possible. Some of the high ticket items maybe not yet, but we have a lot of grow experience combined. We have about 15 years of grow experience in the team. And we share that knowledge for free on a daily basis to anyone who gets in contact with us. Is it a question? Why are my tips yellowing? Are we ready to harvest? How can I get better yields? What's the best grow light? You know, any of those lines, we try and supply the best information possible, because the worst case for me is when someone buys something, it's the wrong equipment, they spent a lot of money, and then they fall out of the hobby because they weren't assisted in the right way. And I've seen it happen to lots of people. You know?
That's what inspired you to kind of start the grower support.
Exactly, 100%. And also, you know, it's you on my side and on everyone who's been involved in the grow support, you're dealing with 100 different issues a day, not just your own issues. So you're getting way more knowledge than you would just dealing with your own grow. So even though I'm not physically doing it, I'm still troubleshooting, and that way I've been able personally to really push my grow skills way faster. Yeah, in the last 3 years, I've learned more than I did in the last 9 years.
Okay.
I'm finally getting good results.
No, I saw you were doing a bit of living soil there at the back. I'm also a big fan of my living soils and things like that. You know, so I just feel like that's the flavor bomb is the living soil.
Yeah, I mean, I do hydro. I'm actually busy right now with the hydro grow series. It's fully automated. It's really cool. But all of my outdoor and some of my indoor is done living soil, and I've been into my living soil for like the last 3 or 4 years, and it's been, I really find the flavor to be amazing. I just smoked some Platinum Gorilla before this interview, and it was really tasty.
Nice, no wonder you're so comfortable with that.
So can you tell us about like some future plans for Marijuana SA? Like, how's you have any special plans for the future, or?
So we are going to keep driving it as hard as possible. We have some really big plans for the YouTube channel. We have basically, you know, we've got someone who's working full-time, Cole, on our YouTube channel. He helps us with our editing. With the help on the editing, we're putting more effort into the content, and we're hoping to keep driving more content. I eventually would like to get up to 5 videos a week. So that's probably one of the biggest sort of content goals. And then on the shop side, you know, we have a large range of supporters on the shop, and we're hoping to just, you know, being able to keep creating jobs and keep growing the shop and keep sort of selecting and innovating on new products. And you know, in the future, we're working on a few cool ideas when the market does shift. They're all on the back burner, but we're not ready to release any information on that just yet.
Okay, no, that's fine.
We are working on some really, really cool things for when the market does change, and people can really look out for that. But right now, you know, we have the grow shop. The grow shop is a massive passion. We have every person in our team loves what they do, and we put 100% of our effort every day. And it's the same with our YouTube channel, and we just hope that people can keep resonating with that so that we can keep growing.
It's passion driven, and it comes through in the videos, you know?
Yeah, well, it is my passion. You know, I always dreamed of going into cannabis. I was going to, when I was 18, I was going to go overseas and go learn in America and then come back. But just because of personal circumstance, I wasn't able to. And to now find myself in my own country working full time and also having a successful YouTube channel and falling in love with creating content. When, like I was saying before the interview, I used to hate the camera, you know? And to fall in love with making content and educating, I found myself in a place where I'm really passionate about the industry, and I want to just keep the industry growing and educating more people.
Lekker, man. And tell me, have you guys got a big crew here running the shop? Or
So we are in total a staff composite of 6. It's Andrew and myself. Then we have Sean, our warehouse manager. Luke supports a lot with the growing and sort of quoting and sales. And then we have a full-time editor and marketer. I also do a lot of the marketing myself. And then we have someone who helps us with the books as well.
Beautiful.
So a small team, and we do a lot of business. We also sell on Take a Lot as well, which is so we're running a lot from a very small amount of people, and we maximize, you know, we all maximize, but the passion is here, and because of the passion, I think we have a really well-rounded energy going around, and we're always here to support. You know, we've got a good team. But none of this would be possible without every person in their place. You know, all of us need to give it our all every day, or we're not going to get what needs to get done, and we pride ourselves in our reputation. You know, our reputation is everything to us.
Yes. One person could never achieve all that stuff by themselves. You know?
No, you know, I might be in front a lot of the time, like in the camera and Andrew, but there's so much more going on in the back end, so much thought going into it, hours and hours of meeting, procurement, trying to get people to let you through the door. You know, there's so much more that goes to it. When you finally get there, you actually want to be like, ooh, you know. But then the excitement hits and you're back at it again.
Okay.
Everything good there?
Yeah, everything good.
Okay, cool, man.
Can I ask him a question on the clubs? What's your opinion on like the private clubs emerging in South Africa?
So for me personally, I find it absolutely amazing. You know, it's a regulated environment. You're able to, I've done quite a bit of content on the clubs where possible, you know, but I see it as a way that, you know, we don't, with regulation wise, it's been a very difficult space to operate in. We have a huge interest in the space, and with the club scene, we're able to supply a safe environment where people are able to, you know, express their craft, and I hope it continues to grow. And we're very big supporters of the club scene, and we do reach out. You know, we have between Andrew and myself, we've got maybe 15-20 years worth of procurement experience, and we're wanting to work with the clubs in the content, or also in procurement,
stocking some of your items,
exactly, or procuring, or supplying support or consulting, because we can do those things. And that's where actually I've been spending a lot of my time recently, networking with clubs to help and upskill and push as much of our knowledge where we can. I'm not saying we're the best, there's so much knowledge out there, and we're just wanting to share it, because like cannabis is such a weird thing that it was illegal, so everyone's got their own way of doing it. You could grow dank weed doing multiple different methods, and everyone has their own method, and that's kind of the mentality of the space. But I'm more than happy to tell you my secrets, because they're not secrets, but let's share and let's all just grow faster. And that's where I think the club scene provides a nice space of safety for people to really express their craft.
Common ground where people can come and get involved in the cannabis space.
Exactly, and without being fearful or being involved in dodgy situations, because it's really not the case. Cannabis industry is a loving industry.
It's a loving industry. And for the young entrepreneurs and the guys that are just getting out of high school now and those kind of things, starting up their life, have you got a couple of words of advice for them if they want to get involved in the cannabis space?
Yeah, so I was that guy once. I've been involved in cannabis from really early. The first weed that I ever smoked, I grew my own, and it's always been something that I wanted to do. So for any guy out there who's wanting to get involved in the space. You know, it's not just growing, it's not just smoking. There's so much more involved in the industry. There's going to be tourism, there's going to be packaging, there's going to be distribution, you know. So if you want to be involved in the industry right now, and it is a goal, work towards it, you know, start networking, get whatever information you can online. I mean, there's channels like mine, there's channels like yours, you know, there's places like Chiba where you can go and do courses. So if you're wanting to get involved, all you have to do is get started and be consistent, and if it's really what you want, there is going to be a massive opportunity coming, and it's the right time now to start educating yourself.
Yeah, this
Yo,
is the
you speak so powerfully, bro. They need to make you president.
Maybe one day.
We all love that, bro.
And just your opinion on this one, but how, for you guys here, how has things changed since the 2018 with the private bill being released and now we could use cannabis?
So I've seen a massive shift in mentality. You know, I from being involved in cannabis for far longer than September 2018, I've seen the stigma in the past. You know, in 2011, I did my school Toastmaster speech on propaganda around cannabis, and I was blocked left, right, and center. Even though my speech was winning, I was sort of voted out eventually because of just the nature of the content. You know, and those same kinds of people who were pushing back in the past are now showing interest, because I think people instinctively do not want to do something illegal, even if they know it's right, you know. So now that we're able to have a legal environment, I've seen a massive shift in mentality, and it's fast, but it's not fast enough just yet, in my opinion. But you know, I've seen a massive shift in mentality, and I've also seen a lot of entrepreneurship, you know, legal businesses operating in a space that was illegal beforehand. So for me personally, the highlights of the change have been sort of this mentality shift. More people are open to it, and then on top of that, also just the amount of different businesses that have popped up, you know, and 420 friendly occasions, and just seeing a whole change and a little glimpse as to what the future is going to be.
And seeing the whole culture come out from the underground, you know, because in the past we were all hiding, we didn't know about each other, but now since it's legal, we've all like
we can finally like chat to people who share the interests. You know, I never used to talk about it to anyone, like not even my brothers at one point.
Thing,
I'm growing in the back there, no one knows about it, you know. But now I'm finally able to talk about it, and to be able to talk about something we love, we can, you know, it's what we need to do. We need to speak, because if we're not speaking to each other, we can't band together and fight for what we want, you know.
I experienced the same thing, you know. I'm happiest when I'm with my plants. It's just me, there's some music playing, and I'm going on, you know. And then when it became open and everything, now we're running a club and it's people and it's in and out and this the whole time. That was an adaptation.
Yes, 100%.
But it's like you said earlier, you kind of fall in love with something that you never thought you'd like, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And on that topic, how do you feel about the current state of legislation?
So I think the current state of legislation has been incredibly slow. You know, we're still sitting years later with very little to no change. But I think there are some whisperings of conversations that are starting to be had, which could be positive. But I remain ever cautious with relation. You know, I think there's going to be more decided in the courts with relation to like the Hayes Club battle than the speed of regulation. But also with Cyril speaking this year, I know he spoke last year, but it seems slightly different. You know, and I think there is some movement towards it, but you know, as someone who's been involved in cannabis for as long as I am, I remain ever cautious as to what the government's going to do.
So the formal laws,
is going to be a big thing.
laws at the moment, it's still very hazy, and there's not much clarity. But we find with these clubs that it's as if they're getting more accepted by local authorities, and they now opening up towards SAPs and telling them this is what we do, we want to run a club. There's no illegal activity going on.
I think like because of the professionalism of the club scene, you can, you know, it's being adopted on that local level. I think the people who really are dragging it is on the highest level, but you know, if we can get good regulation that's been consulted on, I'm positive we can have a massive boom in the industry, but it's just like, when is it going to happen? You know?
How do you think like that can aid the South African economy?
So I mean, if you look at like my business, for example, 6 salaries are paid, you know, from one business. That's massive job creation on a small level, and it's small medium businesses that are going to grow this economy. If you take my business and you times it by, you know, 200-300, all of a sudden there's going to be loads of job creation, and that's just in the current legislation. if we had an opening up of legislation, there would be so much money coming into the space, loads of foreign investment. I mean, nearly every commercial farm in South Africa is foreign investment. Now, rather take that on a responsible adult use level, and now all of a sudden the amount that South Africa will be able to produce is going to be far more. So I think on an economic level, we're sitting in the gold rush, you know, the green rush. But I think they just need to like open the floodgates, you know, and when that does happen, and I mean, we're post-COVID, well, in like whatever, okay, we're outside, so, you know, but you know, where we find ourselves now, I've never seen just like, you know, so much sort of poverty, and you can see how much South Africa is struggling at the moment. And if we're sitting somewhere where it's clear, and if you look at the global economy, where like if you look to states in America where legalization has happened, how much money was made overnight, it just kind of seems stupid. Can't think of a more eloquent word. You know, it's in our faces, and it should be in the face of government. I know one industry can't solve it, but there's no other industry like cannabis where so many people are interested, and there's so many parts of it. There's not just recreational. There's going to be a massive tourism boom if we're trying to get people back into South Africa. Imagine instead of all these tourists coming for wine tastings, now they're coming for bud tastings, you know? I traveled to Amsterdam in 2014 for the sole reason to go smoke bud there, you know? Imagine how many people would come to South Africa, with South Africa already being such a popular tourism country. You know, so I think the government there is a solution in cannabis with relation to job creation and the economy. I just feel it just needs to be opened up. Let's unlock it.
I think we're headed in that direction.
One big worry that's still out there for a lot of people in the space is that the rural communities that's been growing for generations now, they're kind of getting left out, partly because of legislation, and partly because of
high input costs,
you know. So would you mind just sharing your thoughts on how can we maybe involve these guys somehow?
So it's actually funny enough, this is something I've thought about quite a lot. So I don't know if it's a really good solution, but I actually had a conversation with a gentleman from, I cannot remember from what university, but my bad, but he was from a university last week, and he asked me the same question. And when we were chatting, you know, I kind of really got onto the point of, you know, I think the two main things is sort of an education around handling of product. You know, there's good product being grown, but is it being handled correctly? And then secondarily, it's an access to sort of tasting and then logistics. So I think to involve the rural community, there should be a push into education, and then on top of that, I think with that education, they could, you know, like a co-op styled environment could work really well in the rural areas. They set up a centralized testing DC, maybe with something like a Gemma-Cert, you know, just to test, or you know, a cheaper kind of testing machine, and then that co-op handles the distribution, and then the wealth is spread. I think that would be a good way, because our rural communities are a lot of the time, you know, out and far between. But like I've seen it in the citrus industry, I've seen it in the grape industry, where when you're so far out, the way that you're successful is by banding together. You know, you band together, you create a co-op. The co-op handles the distribution and the testing, and then the farmers do what they do well, and they farm. And I think that could be a really cool way to sort of get around that point. But then again, the government just seems so set on getting whoever wants to spend the most money. If you look at the current legislation, so it's something that worries me a lot, you know. And I don't have the answer. No. But that's sort of my straight opinion.
That was a really good answer. We're always poking around and just finding different opinions on that subject. And it's always a difficult one to go into, especially because we're all trying to find our little place in the cannabis field.
But it's important because the rural communities are protecting our land races, and they have still undiscovered land race that, you know, could get completely wiped out because a lot of the rural community may operate in the sort of what would be seen as the illegal market, and if the price crashes because of sort of a flooding off the market, their way of life that's been generations long is going to disappear, you know. So it's highly important as a community that we all think about that question.
How can we get them involved?
Exactly, because you know, like if when I was speaking to GES Labs, they're using, you know, very, very, very low quality a product sub 4% or low quality, just lower THC product, and they're turning that into 99% distillate.
Oh, wow.
Also from the rural communities, they're getting from the rural communities, upskilling them, and then they're pushing it into sort of an exportable product. So
Wow.
just because you don't have the dankest genetics doesn't mean there's not value. And also what you find in our land races are alt cannabinoids, which you haven't seen, which the global market hasn't seen yet because of, so we can't, if we lose those alt cannabinoids, we could lose the next pinotage, Pinotage is a trademarked substance or name from South Africa, or champagne from Champagne, and we've got one of those in our land races. We just need to find it.
That's true.
Yeah, there has been some crazy discoveries. I'm not actually the right person to go too much into detail about it, but I've just found out that they've discovered a strain that's high in CBG.
Yes, okay.
Extremely high in CBG,
Interesting.
which is very rare.
Yes,
for
yes,
strains,
yeah, I mean-
that comes straight from Ponderland, so
Amazing.
it's right in the heart of the
Yes, exactly.
rural community. So there is hope. Exactly what you're saying.
We just need it, but if it doesn't get protected and that way of life disappears, we will lose it, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. No, we got to preserve it. We have to preserve it. So if you had to say one thing that's like that stood out for you during your experience with cannabis and things, or that you've learned over the time, and I know there's so many things to choose from, so it's a whole thing.
Cannabis for me has been like it's been a huge hobby in my life. I really enjoy smoking, but I'm a daily smoker. I smoke all the time. But like my passion is around the cultivation, and just through cannabis cultivation, the biggest thing that has changed my life is I've got even more involved into gardening. I try to grow all my own food. I turn my swimming pool into a potential fish farm. I'm like so involved in the garden and in garden innovation and in small pieces of garden tech or grow lights. Just the growing side has become like such a ferocious beast that I sometimes have to be like, listen, you can't buy another grow light.
It's almost an addiction on its own. It's just getting the equipment.
Not just for cannabis, like trying to grow my own chilies, trying to breed chilies, So for me, the biggest thing about cannabis is it's like pulled me away from, maybe which could have been negative hobbies. I don't know. I didn't really have many, but like it's really pushed me into like this love for gardening. And I've funny enough, through the grow support line, I found I've seen clients where they've never grown anything before. They haven't even grown a succulent, and then they'll get into cannabis and 6 to 12 to 15 months later, all of a sudden they're like, bro, check my orchids, or look at this, look at my dank ganja, They're all of a sudden so involved in growing and have this newfound love for the garden. So like my corny joke is that everyone says cannabis is a gateway drug, and it is. It's a gateway drug into the garden.
That's awesome. I can be testament to that as well, because started off with cannabis with me. Now we're doing chickens and veggies and cows and everything. Really, everything basically grown. Right?
Yeah, that's so cool, guys.
Amazing.
That covers.
I think
most of the
that's pretty much it. Let me just think for a second here quickly. Yeah, I think that's awesome, Dean.
Cool.
Thank you so much. You have a high frequency, you got a nice way of bringing what you want to say across.
Thanks.
Share
thank
some
you.
valuable
Thank you.
information in a very powerful way.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
No,
Awesome.
I appreciate the opportunity so
Boom.
much, and I'm really just glad to be able to share, which is my passion in life, and to speak about cannabis. So thank you guys so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We appreciate you coming onto our channel. Like, it's still a small channel, and we often watch Marijuana SA's videos, and we look up to you guys. So
It's an inspiration for us.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's like just getting into the space and creating content. It's also you guys who inspire us, because we want to see more people creating content. So I support as many other channels as I can, and I've called out multiple times whenever I can. More people need to be creating content because it has a global reach, and 2 people or 4 people can't do it alone. We need to have a whole content creation side, and the internet is the future of media, so you guys must just keep putting it out there. That's what we did. We've just continued to put out as much as possible. through blood, sweat, and tears, and you know, people resonate with that. And just from this conversation today, I know that you guys are going to be successful as well. So,
Oh, thank you so much, man. That means a lot.
cool.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dean.
No, it's a pleasure, guys. I really do mean what I said.
Oh, you can feel it.
Awesome. It's real, man. It's real. I've got goosebumps.
Ek gaan hierso vir ons afsit.